Hey folks, Judy here from East Texas Living. Back at you today. It's another start of a new week, and I did make it to Longview yesterday, and I got the rest of these paver blocks that I'm going to be using for the top of my stairs on my cinder block paver stairs that I'm building in front of my shed. So it took me a while to get all the material I needed, but now I have it. So I'm going to get those unloaded from the car. And we kind of have just an assortment of things to show you today. I also got some of those plastic step-in posts I'm going to use when I trellis my peas, if they'll come up. It's crazy weather, man. Not to change the subject, but it was 25 degrees here this morning. So gets up to 80 sometimes during the day. Yesterday it was a little cooler, but anywhere from 65 to 80 degrees during the day. And then last night it was 25 degrees, which makes it a little tough to try to get a head start on anything. I do have some seedlings going in the little greenhouse that I have, and I'll show y'all those. I'm going to fertilize them today. And I'll show you my crude little solar setup that I did to power a DC pump to pull water out of the IBC tote up there, because we don't have water lines up there yet. And so I have to do something to water if I end up having a full garden up there. And then I'll show you again the raised beds. I don't feel like I kind of covered that well the other day. I'm sure proud of them, so I want to show them off again. And that's about it. So I'll bring y'all along for unloading these fun concrete blocks and show you kind of what I got going on with those paver stairs. I'm really excited to have some stairs in front of my shed so I don't like break my neck. So anyway, so y'all come along and you can see what I'm up to today. Folks, back here at these cinder block paver steps that I'm trying to build in front of my shed. And this is just a dry fit, so please keep that in mind. It's nowhere near level underneath or any of that stuff. All right, so hopefully y'all can see what I got going on here. Yeah, y'all can see that. So those paver blocks that are on the top, little story with those. I didn't get enough at the Lowe's in Longview and went back to Mount Pleasant. Of course, the Lowe's there didn't have the same kind. So I had to go back to Longview because I think they look better. They're kind of beveled on the edges. They look a little more finished. But anyway, I just think they look nicer, but they're all about the same, to be honest. But, and I'm not sure if I'm going to bring out here any more blocks or if I'm just going to do gravel out here. I'm not real sure what I'm going to do. I haven't made up my mind yet, but big difference in how I'll feel more stable going into the shed than I have been, because I had just some of these just piled up and it was like rickety, crazy going in there and then trying to bring boxes out or boxes in. Right now there's still a lot of stuff that's stored in there. My hope is that eventually I can make soap out here. I can do some of my canning. This will kind of be my little studio, my little workshop that I can have all of my oversized kitchen stuff in and that sort of thing. So again, when I get to the point of finishing these, I'll bring y'all along for that. It'll probably be maybe even a two-part video because it'll be quite lengthy, I think. So I'll break it up in 2 segments. So okay folks, I wanted to show y'all these raised beds. They turned out really nice, and I kind of bought these a little at a time over the last couple of 2 or 3 years as we were preparing to get out of the Houston area. And this is the Birdie's brand, and like I mentioned on my video the other day, I am 5'2", so they definitely hit me pretty tall, which is good, and then I don't have to bend over so much. And I was able to put these together myself, easy peasy. Jimmy helped fill in the dirt with the tractor, and I put mostly dirt that I found off down in the woods that had some leaf debris and more organic matter, and then just covered the top with a light layer of like potting mix. So this will be, as I mentioned, this will be kind of my flower and herb garden, and I'm hoping the deer don't decide that it's their new snacks. But anyway, but you can kind of see this is the Birdie's brand, which is a lot taller. Again, the advantages of it was the plastic was a whole lot easier to peel off. It was a lot thicker, and it didn't take me no time to get that peeled off. This is the Olle, O-L-L-E brand, and it's 17 inches tall. I didn't have the box yesterday of the Birdies because I had already put them together on the video, but let me see exactly how tall this thing is. So it's right at, I guess I overstated a little bit. It's right at about 29 inches, 29 and a half tall. So it's pretty tall, and it's really nice. The Olle, the disadvantage of it, the biggest one, was the plastic. Peeling off the plastic was like peeling off melted saran wrap. I kid you not. It was awful. That took the longest time. And you know, it was just the difference in material. This plastic was a lot thicker. And so I'm sure cost per unit, they probably got a better deal on that thinner plastic on these guys. But anyway, other than that, they're very similar how they go together. They're pretty much identical. These had the washers already kind of attached to the bolts, which was kind of nice. You didn't have to juggle those three pieces, the bolt and the washer and the nut. These were all separate, so you had to kind of juggle, get the washer on and all of that, but you know, minor really. But I got a discount code on these Ollies from Lazy Dog Farm quite a while ago, and I got a discount code on these from Self-Sufficient Me, the guy out of Australia. And these were a closeout model, but he said, you know, they're great. You know, this was the kind he had had for years, and they're really good quality. I'm very, very happy. Now, the two greens are slightly different shades, which I'm okay with that. I'm not that particular, but this is more of a pea green and this is more of a sage green. It's what I would call it. But again, I'm okay with that. But I'm so excited about these because I think they look so nice. Right by the driveway, you'll come in and you'll see them. And I hope over time I can get a few more. But again, money. So I'm hoping, I entered to win a contest. I'm hoping I will win, cross your fingers, for one that is for like a deck or a porch on wheels. And I'm hoping I win because Jimmy's going to be building our front deck, and that would sure be nice to have one of my plants in one of those that I can move around. But anyway, it's round, very similar, just a metal round bed. So anyway, I wanted to show y'all, very proud of these, and I recommend them if you can catch a discount code, you know, save up for them. I think they're going to save my back loads of pain by not having to bend over so much. I do have the cattle lick tubs, mineral tubs, that will also be helpful next year. I hope to put all of those into play. This year we just kind of, you know, you got to pick and choose what you can do when you first move into a property that has nothing in place. So I'm going to show y'all one last thing today, and then we'll probably be closing it out, and we'll go from there. Show you, I built one of these down by the berry patch, and I built one up here because we're kind of primitive, like I said. This is how I'm watering my garden up here. It's an IBC tote, and we've been doing some water catchment, and then Jimmy pumps it into this. He's got a pump on a trailer, and anyway, long story, but anyway, that's how we've been managing this. And so I needed a way to pump the water out here, up here for this greenhouse, and I've got onions going, hoping my carrots come up. And so I did the same thing, like I said, down by the berry patch. This is my charge controller. It's a Renogy Rover. And down at the berry patch, I had a Vevor, and we've had very good luck with that Vevor stuff. This this charge controller is pretty much just like the Vevor. Anyway, it's a 20 ampere, and so then I've got my Vevor pump in here. It's a DC 12 volt pump. It is a 20 amp, and so that's what I got in here. And I've got the water lines coming out and all the connections going over into the other tub, which power the pump. So put it in a separate tub for obvious reasons. If it dribbles any water, I didn't want it drowning my charge controller or my battery. And then I've got my 20 amp charge controller in here, and then my 12 volt battery that I bought at Harbor Freight. And that is a solar Thunderbolt, I think is what it's called. And I do need to put some fuse protection on this, but I'll bring the camera in closer to y'all. The one thing about these Harbor Freight solar panels, they don't have an MC4 connector on them. They have these other ones, and I'm not an expert at this. I do very crude setups. And you know, and I've studied that part, but I'm not an expert doing solar panels in parallel or series or any of that stuff. So I'm doing just enough to get me by. Anyway, long story short, they don't have the MC4 connectors. So fortunately, I didn't have to run any kind of long cable wire connection. I was able to just strip off that connection and get the bare wires and go into the back of that charge controller where the it says PV, which means photovoltaic, so where your panel goes in. So that was easy. And of course you got the battery going in, and then your load, which is your pump. And it's really helpful because I just come up here and I just hit the old charge controller to turn the load on, and that pump kicks on, and I can turn on, well, I turn on my water first, then I turn on my pump, and then I can run my water hose and water my carrots and my onions and all that stuff. So far so good. Now, I do have a temperature sensor on the battery. It came with the charge controller, and I do have, like I said, have a setup like this down at the berry patch, and the battery would go dead. It was like a lawnmower battery. Battery would go dead, and I'd either have, Jimmy'd have to bring his truck over and plug his truck, you know, plug that battery in and charge it, or we had a trickle charger, and it was just a pain in the butt. So this is easier, and I have an interest in this. My husband's not super interested in this solar thing, but to me this is kind of fascinating how it works, and I hope to learn more and improve my skill set on that. So that's a little bit about what I got going on. Again, a Harbor Freight solar battery, Thunderbolt I think it's called, and it's a 12 volt battery. The Rover Renogy charge controller, I'll bring the camera in closer and show y'all. My Vevor pump is in the other tub, and then my Harbor Freight 100 watt Thunderbolt solar panel. So I'll bring that in and show y'all. But it works like a charm. This is the this, like I said, that's the charge controller. It's a Renogy. I do have a Vevor charge almost identical to this thing. So I've heard that Vevor sells them and they're rebranded under different names. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, it's real easy to follow, and you do a setting to set whether you have a sealed lead acid battery or a lithium battery or some other types. Anyway, it's easy. It's easy to run. So there's that Vevor water pump. I think we have 3 of these now, and they work really good. So we've got the water line coming in at the back there, and it comes in from the water tote. That's the IBC tote. So that water comes in and goes into the back of the pump. And then we've got the water outlet coming out, and it's coming into my garden hose here. So once I turn on the load button on the charge controller, then my battery kicks, or excuse me, my pump kicks on, and away we go. And we've got a pump that is working to help me water everything up here in my little garden area. Okay, bringing y'all along here so you can see we're in this small greenhouse, high tunnel, whatever you want to call it, plant hut, and these are the peppers. Peppers, I had no problem with those, and I am just so thankful because peppers are usually always hard for me. But I've got cayenne, I've got bell peppers, I've several kinds. I've got, God, there's another one. What else have I got? Cayenne, Anyway, there's several others I got going here. Jalapenos, poblanos. I think I got poblanos. Anyway, so, and then I've got another table with my tomatoes. Hopefully y'all can see past this plumeria right there. That's my tomatoes and my other peppers. And I'm so happy. This is my sad Barbados cherry that made it through all of the freeze. I've still got green. So what I want to do after we don't have any more 25-degree mornings, I want to get this thing out and probably prune it back considerably. But I'm so happy with these because they make cherry, well, they call them cherries. They're really not cherries. It's a tropical fruit. Let me head out here. It's so hot in here. It's a tropical fruit, and they're very easy to grow, and they made wonderful jelly. All right, folks, back here in the house for just a few minutes and then headed back out to work on chores. And I noticed, well, what I was saying about the Barbados cherry, I was so glad to see that green on that plant and see that it had survived. So they make a really good jelly, and the good part about it is you don't have to wait for one big crop. You can kind of pick it all summer long, put it in a freezer bag, and then when you're ready to make some jelly, you take all your bags of little cherries out, and you squish all them up and strain them and all that, depending on how clear you want your jelly to be, or if you don't mind a little pulp in it, and it makes the best jelly. I mean, the best. So anyway, I'm so glad that that thing made it. And the rest of my day, I also noticed that I had planted some, they're called garlic chives, and it's a seed from Haas Tools. And I don't know if y'all have tried those, but they smell so good, and they're growing. So I'm so happy about that. And I need to up pot them from the little seedling trays into those little, I don't know, 2-inch pots, 3-inch pots. And so I'll be doing that today. And anyway, just some other stuff. There's always stuff to do. And again, I'll bring y'all along when I get to the paver steps and the fun part of putting up more hardware cloth. But anyway, so hope y'all enjoyed what we have going on here today. And till the next time, y'all keep the faith, and we'll see you on the next one.